U.S. President Joe Biden says he will travel to Hawaii as soon as he can and criticism of his response to the island deadly wildfire. Speaking in Milwaukee on Tuesday, Mr. Biden said he wanted to ensure that the people in the state have everything they needed. The death toll from the fire is now 101 with some 100 and 1,300 people missing. Hawaii residents have complained about the pace of the federal government's response to the disaster while they harbored beach. There were over the weekend. Mr. Biden was asked by the reporters about doing so would divert resources and attention from the humanitarian response. Joe Biden will accompany him to Hawaii, he said. I don't want to get in the way. I have been to too many disaster areas, Mr. Biden said. I want to be sure we don't disrupt ongoing discovery effort. Additional personnel are being sent to Maui to help those already on the ground, Mr. Biden added. He said that all available federal assets in the region would be used for recovery effort, including the U.S. military and Coast Guard. It's painstaking work. It takes time and it's navals working, the president said.
Engineering student Sumaya Farouk had to flee Afghanistan to continue her studies after the Taliban government returned to power 2 years ago and banned more than 1.1 million girls and women from schools and universities. The 21-year-old, now living in the United States, is the face of a campaign launched Tuesday by the UN's Education Cannot Wait Global Fund to combat the crisis, marking the 2-year anniversary of the fall of the internationally recognized government in Kabul. Under the motto Afghan Girls' Voices, the operation is spearheading a global call to respect all Afghan girls and women's rights to education.
A New Zealand jury on Wednesday found a mother guilty of murdering her 3 young daughters in a case that shocked the nation. Lauren Dixon, 42, had earlier admitted killing her 2-year-old twin daughters, Maya and Kara, and their 6-year-old sister, Lion, at their home in the town of Timaru nearly 2 years ago. But she had pleaded no guilty to murder, arguing she was mentally disturbed at the time of killing and didn't know what she was doing was wrong. Prosecutors, however, pointed to Dixon's troubling phone message and online history in a week before the killings, including comments about wanting to kill her children and go search for most effective overdose in kids.
In an interesting turn in the Elon Musk-Mark Zuckerberg much-anticipated cage fight, both tech leaders again entered an indirect war of words. Initially, Zuckerberg posted an Instagram story, "Send me the location," along with a screenshot of Musk's tweet where he had first challenged the Meta owner. Responding to this, Musk accused Zuckerberg of apparently not accepting the challenge. Taking to X, formerly Twitter, Musk stated, "Fight recap, I joked on X about fighting Zuck. Zuck then said, send me location. Italy graciously offered a Colosseum. Zuck declined. I suggested his home as safe space."
A California judge charged with drunkenly killing his wife with a gun he kept in an Anchor hostler allegedly texted a colleague after a shooting to say, "I won't be in tomorrow. I will be in custody," a court held Tuesday. Judge Jeffrey Goldstein has dozens of guns and 26,000 rounds of ammunition at his house when officers arrived to find his wife dead from the gunshot, wounded to the chest, the court was told. Prosecutors say Ferguson, 72, who sits on Orange County Superior Court, smelled strongly of alcohol when he was arrested and told police, "Well, I guess I'm done for a while." A court in Los Angeles said Ferguson and his wife Sherry began arguing over dinner at the restaurant where their home in affluent Ashman suburb. During the August 3rd dispute, the judge has pointed his finger at his wife in a manner mimicking a firearm, Orange County Deputy District Attorney Christopher Alex told the court.
A trio of retired educators has rejected a suburban Atlanta school district's recommendation to fire a teacher who was removed from the classroom after she was accused of improperly reading a book on gender fluidity to her fifth grade class. Monday's move paves the way for due West Elementary teacher Kathy Rindley to keep her job, but the Cobb County School Board has a final decision, the Atlanta Journal-Constitution reported. The panel reached a decision after a two-day hearing last week about whether Rindley should be fired for reading the picture book My Shadow is Purple by Scott Stewart. The case has drawn wide attention as a test of what public school teachers can teach in class, how much a school system can control teachers, and whether parents can veto instruction they dislike. It comes amid a nationwide conservative backlash to books and teachings about LGBTQ subjects in schools.
The killers have apologized after fourth-man Badon Flows invited a Russian fan on stage during a concert in Georgia to play drums on his songs. He told a crowd they trade as Russian fan as their brother drawing booths and walk out from the part of the area. Georgia, which gained independence from Russia in 1991, has a long history of tension treason with their neighbors. Russia invaded Georgia in 2008 and still occupied parts of the former Soviet states. Tracings have been exacerbated after the number of the Russians migrant to Georgia following Russia's invasion of Ukraine last year. In a statement posted on the social media after the concert, the killer said, "Good people of Georgia, it was never our intention to offend anyone."
North Korea has said U.S. soldier Travis King crossed into its territory last month because of inhuman maltreatment and racial discrimination in the army. A 23-year-old private dashed across the border from South Korea on 18 July while on a guided tour. Private King admitted to crossing illegally and wanted refuge in the North, state media reported. Washington said it could not verify the claims, which are Pyongyang's first public comments on the case. Concerns have been growing for the welfare of the U.S. soldier who has not been heard from or seen since his crossing. The U.S. is trying to negotiate Private King's release with the help of the UN Command, which runs the border area and has a direct phone line to the North Korean army. Responding to the North Korean report on Wednesday, a Pentagon official said their priority was to have Private King brought home safely through all available channels.
This is the International Tit-Bits on Atlantic Television Network. We return after this break.
Every day, our lives are changed by history.
We are one people, all of us.
Leaders, politics.
Nobody's ambition is what the blood.
I have fought a very firmly.
Natural occurrence, war, and the world economy.
I belong to everybody.
People into the country illegally. That is amazing.
Honorable
You human
on the point of order.
Honorable on them. They are not picking our cause. They made up their mind.
So no agreement with the EU, but
Welcome back. This is International Tit-Bits on Atlantic Television Network, and joining me on today's conversation is a former chairman, Association of Nigerian Authors, River State Chapter, Mr. Uzo Nwamara. Thank you, sir, for joining me today.
Thank you for having me.
All right, let's look at Niger Republic. A lot has been going on there. The Nigerians are preparing for war against regional countries, threatening to invade 3 weeks after munitions soldiers ousted the nation's democratically elected president. And the residents in the capital, Miami, are calling for the mass recruitment of volunteers to assist the army and force of growing threat by the West African regional bloc. Of course, ECOWAS, which said this, will use military force if the juntas doesn't reinstate the deposed President Mohamed Bazoum. We know that the ECOWAS has activated the standby force to restore order in Niger after the junta ignored a deadline to reinstate and release Bazoum, but all in vain. And they talked about having, coming to a negotiation table, all in vain. We don't know what the state is right now. What do you think about this?
Well, I think Nigerians weren't preparing for war against anybody. It is the ECOWAS countries that are preparing to invade Niger. Nigerians didn't invade any other country. It's their private business they're doing. You see, what we're having here now is a kind of a continuation of international politics that has complex dimensions. What is happening to ECOWAS is not that they came up and then decided to do that. They're being pushed and manipulated by the West. It's a continuation of the business of outsourcing war of America, France. What is at issue here is uranium in Niger, no other thing. They're not, it's not that they're trying to, should I say, help Africans or help Nigerians to restore democracy. After all, the idea of Western democracy and the democracy in Africa are quite different. If you look at it critically, you see that what we call democracy in the West and here, should I say, there's a gap. There's a kind of, if I can use the term, let me borrow the term of, say, this Russian formalist, Victor Shkovsky. In 1917, there's a time he came up with the concept of defamiliarization. If you come to Africa, democracy in Africa has been is being defamiliarized from what it used to be or what it should be to what the West wants it to be. In the West, it means a different thing. In Africa, it means a different thing altogether. So for them here, this is pure politics and nothing more. And you can see that it's not that West Africa is pushing. It is like Nigeria is pushing. Look at it critically. It's like Nigeria is pushing, not that West Africa is pushing. You see that our own president, the guy in charge here, is leading the charge. You see, and you see, it tells you a lot of things. It is not that left for him, he would have been pushing, but that was one of the things we were talking about the emergence of certain characters to lead the nation. When you have, should I say, skeletons in your cupboard, when you can be manipulated, when you can be, should I say, a kind of blackmailed into taking actions you shouldn't have taken in the first place, you call yourself to question. If not that our northern brothers at the border, the northern states, are sending in a memo that this shouldn't happen. How do you man about 1,000 kilometers of border space that between Nigeria and Niger, it crosses across a number of states? Even if you take all the military establishment in Nigeria, all the security forces, and you line them, let them line start from the beginning, can they cover that stretch with manning? How do you man that? Doing that is putting Africa and Nigeria into a lot of trouble. There are issues we're not taking into consideration. The Nigerians are already embedded in Nigerian society. You look at it politically, you cannot divorce the Nigerian input or impact on the last administration. It's emergence, and the emergence of the particular administration right now.
But well, we hope that we will actually take this one into consideration. We see presidents from different countries coming in, and of course, Putin is also talking about this, asking them to release Bazoum. And then the Wagner leader that they cause of the cause for the Russian war between Russia and Ukraine now. He's saying he's supporting them for what they are doing. So we hope that this would not, and are trying to recruit members here into their army. So we hope that it will just end here, because we are not expecting war. Like you said before, they were not expecting war, and they are still not expecting war. So we hope that it will end here. Let's look at this other story from Florida.
Okay.
As the start of the school year approach in Florida, some teachers and ACOs are and confused have made a day leading up to reopening as they navigate how to teach under a new state policy. Teachers are saying that they are going into classroom less confident about their lesson plans, confused about change to state law, and on high alert. And once began instruction could now get them fleet. Now, talking about this, this is a new law that has been put in place. I know when I was going through the law, I saw about, one or two where they're like, they don't have to make mention of anything that has to do with LGBTQ in a school. And you don't have any right as a teacher to give a student a name that was not given by their parents. And I wonder, how would this happen? I mean, it just like, instead of calling me Immaculate, you are like Immaculate, you understand? Or you don't even mention LGBTQ, anything that has to do with that. But they have this they have them in their school. They have transgender in their school. So how do you go about not even mentioning? Because this leads to sacking. And they were saying that this could equally lead them, land them in prison if they go against this rule. So they're not even confident of themselves again. Well, how do you think this will affect the school?
You see, the world we live in is interconnected, and we cannot deal with these things in isolation. When we look at the Florida issues, we ask ourselves, how does it impact? What are the implications of that on Nigerians and Africans? It has a genesis, as you can see. If you recall, a few years back, when Jonathan was in office, a few years back, President Obama was pushing for the legalization of same-sex marriage in Africa. He kept pressing and pushing. And if I remember, it was President Mugabe of Zimbabwe that told Obama, if same-sex marriage is the right way to go, come, let me marry you first. What are we trying to say here? This has a deeper implication for the future of mankind and Africans. We are having a war against the core values of man. Most societies. Let's take it that the West has given up. They've given up their own, who we used to think actually that they've given up, especially the American society, is the height of liberalism, as you can see. They live their life as if, just live your life the way you want to live your life. But now we see that the parents in Florida have woken up from their amnesia of centuries, or should I say decades, to begin to see. Then you take the child to the hospital to have them turn the girl into a boy. A boy wakes up tomorrow and says, Dad, I'm now a girl. I'm a girl. A child of 8, 9, 10, you said it's the child's right to decide its identity. It should be so it should be applied to him. But the same society tells you that this is a minor. When the person commits an offense, no, it's too young to stand trial. Yet he's now old enough to take decision for a life-changing procedure. If you see some of the lamentation going on by people who went into accepting these ways of life, that they went under the knife. Some were men that turned into women, and then women turned into men. Now, you know, it's very funny that you're a former man, you're not a woman. And for you to maintain that reconstruction is an injury, it's an eternal injury. You're maintaining it. To maintain that opening, you have to keep, it takes a lot to remain that woman you claim to be, you're not. Okay, look at this funny picture. There was one I saw the other day. A man turned himself into a woman, and a woman turned himself into a man. Now these two